First and foremost, let's keep the Most High above everything. Can I get y'all to like, comment, subscribe on for the algorithm, please? Let's do that for the algorithm. I'm up here grinding. Y'all see me hustling. Let's get it. You know what I'm saying? If y'all like my content, bro, hit that notification bell. Keep getting tuned in. What's the deal? What's the deal? It's your boy ODM Slim, and I'm back again with another one. We got a lot of things to do, a lot of content to get into, so let's get into this content. Title reads, Adam22 responds to Sharp. You see the last two videos, Sharp been going crazy. Adam22 finally, he responds to Sharp, and you guessed it, no accountability, no taking responsibility for anything. The Adam22 way, you know the truth. Like, he don't care about nothing but himself. Everybody keep asking what's my take on this. My take is this: Sharp made this bed. Sharp landed this bed. This bed is full of Sharpies. He gonna get marked up. You know what I'm saying? It's full of Sharpies and sharp items. You might get poked. Might in the backside, side, or right. It don't matter. You might get poked. Pokey. Let Adam talk.
That is being spoke about, but I am aware of the clips that have been posted on the Reddit, and there are two very specific claims that I would love to talk about. So we're going to talk about them right now. Number one, Sharp said that I gave up on him and that I only want yes men around me, etc. Let me speak about that. Let me just go through Sharp's trajectory on No Jumper. He did a Software Underbelly interview, and it was popular at the time. It had probably done at least 1 million views. Somebody told me, hey.
Now you watch this. Anytime this man get into one of his so-called ex-clients or ex-friends or ex-employees, he always downplay the things they do. All right, software is like, all right, it's like 1 million. All right. If it wasn't great or awesome, you wouldn't have had him on No Jumper. You wouldn't have brung him there. You wouldn't try to employ him. You wouldn't try to do none of that stuff. So we knew it was more than just all right. But go ahead.
Hey, you should interview this guy. I reach out. We do an interview. I think to this day it has 2 million views, right? So there's that. That did well. This was right around the time I think that it became clear to us oh, AD is popular on the channel. AD is doing well. So I'm kind of thinking I need to find more hosts. It would be great to find another host. I think maybe even T-Row was on the channel by this point. So I figured, all right, cool. We're gonna bring Sharp on the channel. I'm gonna try him out. I told him, we got to get you talking to girls. That's what's going to work. Because you talking to me and Mark from Software Underbelly, that's cool. But that's not, that's not the craziest shit on earth. But you talking to girls, since obviously with the whole pimp thing, I knew right away that was it. So bring him on the channel, start lining up different adults.
So listen, he's the genius behind everything. He was genius behind everything. He brought him on the channel, got him talking to girls. Got him doing this, going down that. Adam22 is always the genius behind all the stuff. Y'all don't never get that. He's the genius behind everything. He's the genius behind it all. Straight up. Always been, always will be. Mr. Genius.
Stars and some other girls or whatever, and pretty quickly, through the roof. Now, granted, this is pandemic times where everybody was kind of through the roof. So, regardless, when are you not producing? What's the point? Keeping you. That's a strange comment. I feel like I'm on TikTok. Anyway, all right. So, I'm going to try to like actually get through this quickly. So we start getting them on with a bunch of girls, right? And they're doing really well. And that was good. That was cool. We're making money. And pretty quickly, I think it might have been Sharp's first interview with a girl. Boom. It's fucking getting like, I think it might have made $15,000 in the first week or something like that. So it became clear pretty quickly, like, okay, we're not going to be giving Sharp a couple $100 an interview. We're going to have to split the money up to some point. Now, what was our split? None of your business. Don't worry about it, guys. But that was what we were doing, and it worked. Now, at no point during Sharp's time on the channel has it ever been discussed the idea that Sharp would be on the No Jumper show, on the Tuesday show. That was never discussed. And then even beyond that, like, it was never discussed that he would start his own weekly podcast, right? We never got into that. That never.
So if that never was discussed, Sharp having a weekly podcast, what is the Sharp Tank? Who's the Sharp Tank on No Jumper? The Sharp Tank on No Jumper. The Sharp Tank. The sharpest, coolest podcast in the world. What was that? That was just a what? Collaboration? Partnership?
Or like really came up. So Sharp's doing his thing, the years go by, and as time goes by, I think he starts to become more and more self-conscious because he's reading the chat, he's reading the comments, and the comments are kind of saying, hey, this guy only can do one thing, this guy can only scream at fucking at girls, and that's not necessarily entertaining in the long run, right? That makes sense. So I think Sharp starts trying to like broaden his skills. And I shouldn't even act like he wasn't doing that from the beginning, because obviously he was talking to other pimps. He's talking to, rappers. He's talking to, a decent variety of people. But obviously the shit that's going viral is the girls. So that was like the first.
Let's make it clear. The only shit that you really cared about is the girls. The only shit that made you is viable to you was the girls, because it was him and like females. It was a good look at the time. It's pimping. You know what I'm saying? You thought it was a good idea to do this. Keep it real. So you thought it was a good idea from yelling, screaming at females. So leaning the plug, whatever you say, she got an attitude with him. It's not because of you. Him because of you too. You allowed her to have one. By creating this character, by creating this, he got to yell and scream at females all day. So guess what? Now he see Lena, he like, she can get it too.
Couple years. Then AD, T-Rail, Duno, etc. They all leave at the same time, right? So that happened. And Sharp stuck around. And, obviously I'm happy to have him on the.
Man, let's say he more than stuck around. He went to war for you. He went to war with them. Let's keep it real. He would war with AD and all them boy for you.
Channel and everything. But to be honest, by that point, he had already kind of found himself in the same position that he's in right now, where the views are not really coming in the same way that they used to. Now, I'm not hating on him for that. I'm not getting on his ass. I'm not telling him like, hey, Sharp, you need to start yelling at these bitches, whatever. I'm just leaving it alone, because I figured like this is his path to figure out. Now, obviously, if he's getting millions of views screaming at girls or whatever, that would be great from my perspective. Money's always nice. But if he doesn't want to do that, if he feels like that's kind of just lame at this point, whatever, then I guess that's probably, that's fair. Like, I'm not going to try to convince him to do another kind of content if he's not comfortable with it, right? So that's pretty much it. Like, that's what he's been doing. Now, I do want to mention also, holy shit, $50 donation. Shout out Red Lobster, SETI2 Fly. Wow. Nice to have you here. I feel like people are so much more likely to donate when you're like looking directly into the camera like this as opposed to doing a regular podcast. Whatever.
Listen, so you see how people, this man supposed to be rich and all this, rich, all this other stuff, but he taking from the poor. Whatever. For she to donate, it's like you're donating. I like when you donate with me. I like you give me money and all that. And you like when they do everything, bruh. You like the views, the likes, all that, bruh. You know what I'm saying? So what about No Jumper as a whole? The views and the likes and all that is going down No Jumper. So that company's failing at him. Sharp said he built No Jumper. Talking about.
But that was basically like the whole thing. Like we never talked about Sharp having like a weekly show. You know, like he came on the No Jumper show like a couple times around that period. And it just like, you know, like as a conversationalist, like I fuck with him as a person. But me and Sharp are so different. Like I've never been around the pimp shit. I've never been exposed to that shit. That's never been anything that I've been around. You know, it's like totally fucking foreign to me. And I know you guys are going to say, Adam, you're a porn star and you've got all these hoes or whatever. Like, okay, I get you. But, you know, in terms of like having a bitch walk the fucking stroll, it's not, I don't know anything about that world. I don't know, you know, a lot of it is very foreign to me. And even beyond that, you know, just like as a conversationalist, like he's cool, but he's not like my number one dude that I would want to have a conversation with every Tuesday.
Lush ain't needed in.
But I mean, we never even got to the point of having that conversation. But, you know, and to be honest, there were a few like meetings where we tried to tell Sharp why things maybe were not going so great and tried to really get some feedback about what we could work on and everything.
Lying.
But it's kind of like talking to a wall. And you guys who watch them you could probably put it together. You could probably like guess what that was like, right? It was just kind of, there's a lot of blaming other people. It's a lot of sort of like, it's just a lot of shit, you know? It's not really like
shit that you do. Blame other people. A lot of pointing fingers. Yeah, shit that you do. Shit that you do. And it's like problems that somebody did to you. I think you need to sit back for 2 seconds, Adam, and watch the shit you say and apply it to your life. It might be farther. Way farther.
Like it just didn't seem like he was willing to really like take accountability or like change.
Wow.
He basically just like was of the opinion that it couldn't possibly be that he needed to change himself or what he was
Same with you.
And it just I kind of got frustrated from like doing those meetings and shit because it just didn't really seem like he was willing to really be like real about shit. So I just kind of went hands off. And that's how it's been for like the past like 6 months, 8 months, whatever it's been. It's been a while since I even like had a conversation. Shout out Gunner. $10? What the fuck? You work at the store. You're not allowed to give me $10. I'm going to give you $10 when I see you. I'm actually going to give you $7 because YouTube takes their cut. But I just been letting him do his thing. And today was when I found out that he like apparently feels like I, you know, solely want to surround myself with yes men and everything like that. Okay, this is my rebuttal to that. I do a podcast with Whack every week.
That means
Whack is one of the most frustrating fucking people on earth to have a conversation with. And all the time on the podcast, I bring shit up that I think Whack's just going to agree with and that we're going to be able to have a conversation about. And then I quickly realize, like, oh my God, Whack is going to argue with me about this. Even though 3 seconds ago, I had no idea that anybody could actually want to argue about this with me. Whack is the most argumentative person I've probably ever been on the podcast.
All right, let me tell you something about that. Let me break that down. Whack is the most argumentative person on a podcast because before y'all get on the podcast, he says shit like, hey, like Stu Badass said, you gonna say something and I'm gonna go agree, I'm gonna go against that, and I'm gonna do this and that. It's a play. So of course he argumentative because everything that you say, he gonna go against. It's to keep the views up and then give you a point of view that'd be trash. Trash. So it's like I'm just arguing for no reason. That's what Whack do. And you like that. That's That's why you smile every time we do it. And that's garbage content.
Guess with maybe short of Dame Dash. Dame Dash was probably worse than Wack. But I love Wack. And I love doing content with Wack because he's just like a great conversationalist and he's fun. So the idea that
He's
I
a great
want to be around
conversationalist.
yes men, I disagree with that. And I understand the criticism of Brick and Lush when people say that they're a little too yes man-y. And I've kind of like brought this
Yes.
this conversation up on the podcast in the last few weeks.
Lush is down there sucking on pipe. Lush is a suck piper man. Lush is a stroker. Meat puller. Straight like that.
Where I want them to like challenge shit more and I want them to have their own opinions more. And they can tell you that like even in the last like week I've been in the group chat saying like the best thing for the podcast is like come in with your own developed takes about shit, like shit that you feel strongly about that you want to argue about and bring it to the podcast. And you know, I think that's why even in the last week, I've seen a little bit more of it. I've seen Lush come and he said like, hey, do you think that TDE is gay?
Listen. This nigga, man, is trash. And I said that, and I told him to keep making more controversy up because the views and likes is going down. So I told Lush, start saying things like, start spitting out stuff and make it like we're not even on the same page and we come to the same conclusion. Shut the fuck up. Shut your mouth, Adam22.
Keeping conscious hip hop. That's good podding. You might not agree with it, but that's good podding because that's like a controversial take that, you know, people are going to feel strongly about one way or another. You know, I'm not trying to have, God, these donations are coming in. Yes, man, it's a nay from me, church. Oh, that's Lush. Fuck you, Lush. Julian.
It's Lush. Yes, man, it's a nay man from Mutual. Yes, Lush. He up there sucking on private parts from a distance. He's having virtual sex. He giving virtual head. Lush is virtual with this shit. Choking off the choker.
Chung, Cheddar Bay Gang. Is that Julian of Channel 5? Well, I actually have like homies in here. That's weird. Like my actual friends are in here. Look at the last three donations. Gunner, Julian, and Lush. That's insane. Anyway, all I'm saying is like, if I had to identify a problem with the No Jumper show right now, I would honestly say that one of the main problems is that there's just not enough like aggression. You know, it's like me, Lush, and Brick are actually all good friends and like to talk to each other, which sounds like it would be a good recipe for a podcast. And I do feel like it is. Like if you watch the most recent episode of the No Jumper show, I feel like we just had a great ass conversation. And you know, that's not always going to get the most attention when you just have like a good 4-hour conversation, right? I do think that like if we were going to add somebody, I would want it to be somebody who was a little bit more inflammatory. You know, like sometimes like the best moments of me, AD, and House Phone were pretty much just screaming at each other, right? Like us not agreeing on shit at the very least. What the fuck?
That's
The
what I'm
boom
getting.
cell.
Scary ass.
Okay, that actually made me jump out of my fucking skin. So, you know, as far as like Sharp
Actually
being
made
part
me
of
jump
it,
out
I
my
just
fucking
never
skin.
really thought about it, to be totally honest, because I never really enjoyed talking to him like on a podcast that much. Okay, it's just not like, you know, he's cool to talk to, but at the same time, it's just the conversation gets sent in like weird directions. It doesn't necessarily stay on topic. It's just, I don't.
Now I can see that. The conversation getting sent to weird directions. And like, what did that even matter? What did that even have to do with this conversation? But he still be saying shit. That is what he do.
I mean, you can tell me if you think
That's
that
Sharp.
Sharp should have been added to the Tuesday show. Nowhere ever along the way did I ever see anybody telling me that Sharp needed to be added to the Tuesday show, right? Like, I just never, that was never like some big narrative, right? I never remember the fans saying that. And for me, I never really even thought about it that much, to be honest. It like briefly crossed my mind, only because somebody else who works in No Jumper mentioned that Sharp said something about how he thought that he was going to basically like earn his way onto the Tuesday show. I never thought of it that way. For me, with the Tuesday show, I've always just been trying to like shape a cast that I felt like could have really, really good conversations on a consistent basis, right? And we're still working on it, but I do think that we've
We're
come
still
a
working
long
on
way.
this for sure.
So as far as Sharp feeling like I'm stalling him out, like, bro, you're doing the same exact shit. You were doing the same, like, you're just doing interviews with people, which is the same shit I'm doing. I didn't leave you out to dry, bro. Like, you've been doing the same thing. Like, maybe me not being involved has kind of like left you feeling like I could have done more to develop your shit or whatever. But I'm gonna be real. Like, I sat down with you like a couple different times and tried to like give you advice and coach you through podcasting shit, and instead his attitude was basically just that like shit was fine and that everybody else needed to change. And maybe it's because so-and-so isn't helping him get enough interviews or whatever. Oh yeah, and I remember what I was saying though. I was like, at some point, I think maybe like 6 months or 4 months or something after AD and T-Roll and them all left, Snakegate as I've called it, Sharp started talking about how he wanted to move to LA. And so I'm like, okay, let's give this a try. We're going to give Sharp X amount of dollars as opposed to just a pure profit split. We're going to give him X amount of dollars so that he can move out to LA and that it'll make sense for him to be out here. And I'm kind of thinking like this is like a pretty good idea. I'm thinking at the time this is a good idea because I'm thinking Sharp's going to be going to all the parties. He's going to be meeting all the people. He's going to be out there in the field acting as like a representative of No Jumper and then sort of like bringing guests back to No Jumper, which is great because for me, it's like I'm old as fuck. I'm 40 years old. I tend to stay home on the weekends. I tend to just kick it with my wife and my kid. And on the weekdays, I don't really stay out late that much because usually I'm like just working all day and then I gotta be up early in the morning to work out. I'm doing the porn shit as well. It's like I got a million fucking things going on. So I'm thinking like this would be good because Sharp will actually be able to be like outside making shit happen, right? And, I don't know, like maybe he has been doing that and I just don't know about it. But for the most part, that hasn't really happened, right? So like we paid him, I think, for like a year, like a set monthly amount, right? And at some point when we stopped doing the news, I had to kind of pull that back, right? Because it's like you're not doing consistent content on the channel anymore. You're just doing the podcast. With us taking the news away, that's like 10 podcast appearances a month that you're not going to be doing. So we cut back that monthly amount. I get the idea that he didn't really care for that decision too much, which I get. But it's like ultimately, we gave Sharp free reign to do whatever the fuck he wanted on the channel. He could have done anything. Look at these donuts coming in. Poop sent $20. We spend money because we can, and you read it because you SRD.
Well, listen, I'm finna get up out of here, man. Adam22, you ain't admitted to your problem. You ain't did nothing wrong like usual. I ain't never did nothing wrong. I probably missed it, y'all. Y'all tell me if I missed it or not. But Adam22 ain't do nothing wrong. He say something going deeper in this about Lena the plug, about her not like him, and all this other stuff. About Sharp yelling and screaming at other females and the thing. But Adam22, you created that situation when you said you want him to yell at females. You want him to do all this and that. The most important thing in this episode was Adam22 telling Lena, this is not our culture. This is not our culture. So get the fuck up out of it then, bitch. I'm out of here. Optimal Entertainment, ODM Slim. Another one like the other one, man. Holla.